north, stings the corner. You know it's coming. You still can't stop it.
Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday night. The lacrosse rundown is here. We are back. We're coming off a pretty epic weekend with the WLL, but it's ESPN's Jay Alter. It's me, Charlotte North, and we are pumped to be with you guys tonight.
Yeah, we're going to break down what was an epic weekend for lacrosse in Kansas City. Charlotte, I want to hear your perspective, what it was like to play in the inaugural WLL All-Star game. But also we're going to look ahead to some of the coaching carousel that's happened in the collegiate offseason. And when there's some coaching changes, obviously the transfer portal comes into the mix too. We read your comments from last week's episode, and everyone wants to talk portal. So we'll get to that later in the show. But Charlotte, let's start with what is a huge moment for the sport professionally, women's lacrosse, and that's getting on the national stage again after a hugely successful championship series in February. You go to Kansas City for the inaugural WLL All-Star game as well as the skills competition. And for me, and I'm not just saying it because we're doing this show together, you putting up a huge number, 95 miles per hour, stole the show for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. The skills competition in every sport is electric when you have the WNBA All-Star weekend and they do the 3-point competition, or you've got the WLL All-Star skills competitions. We had a number of different competitions, but of course, I'm a little bit biased. My favorite is the fastest shot competition because always trying to push the limits, always trying to see if I can get a little bit better. Yanked that one wide, but it was fun seeing how fast we could shoot and testing it on a radar gun. A lot of times you don't do that when you practice. A lot of people say like, oh, how often do you clock your shot? It's like pretty much never until you go to something like a skills competition. You just work on becoming a better shooter and a better overall player. But the skills competitions are really fun and you showcase a number of different skills. We had a goalie competition in the skills challenge where the goalies were 15 yards apart trying to score on each other. So it was their turn to try to shoot and hit some corners. That was a fun one. And then we had a relay race showing off some stick work, athleticism from our midfielders too. And then an accuracy contest, which Izzy Skane dominated. We went into a 3-way tie overtime between Izzy, myself, and Kenzie Kent. And then Izzy took the cake in double overtime, which was awesome. And then she competed against Chris Kavanaugh, who ended up winning the PLL accuracy contest, 2 of the best shooters in the game. So it was super fun.
You know what I loved, Charlotte, is these are all things that you can do in the backyard.
Oh,
if
yeah.
You're learning to love the game, one of our younger members in the audience, like this summer, you get a bunch of friends in the backyard, set up your own skills competition, and see who wins what category. And if you do that, tell us about it.
Yes.
We'd love to see it.
Submit a clip for the show.
Look, you're never going to be able to replicate when you're starting to play the game, the 10v10 that we saw the next day, which was just outstanding. But the skills competition, that's something everybody can do in their backyard tomorrow, August, in the fall.
Yeah.
And there's so many transferable skills, obviously, to the game, but isolated, it just shows, I guess, how fundamentally sound you have to be good at this sport. Like the accuracy contest for me, watching Chris Kavanaugh on the men's side, like he's a robot. I mean, it was just all one motion, but if you can practice that motion, we're both golfers, like a golf swing, you know, you can bring that to the game, but it broke it down in a way that isolated it, and I loved that about the skills competition. Yeah,
it's like muscle memory. You get into a flow. Chris Kavanaugh got into a flow in his shooting stroke. I mean, that's something I can guarantee he and everybody else who was in that competition has spent hours on end every week, every month of his life working on, because it's controllable. It's like stick work. It's controllable. You can go out to the field. You don't need much, and you can work on your shooting accuracy. And actually, now that you mention it, I was at a clinic yesterday. It was a Charlotte North Lacrosse collab with Sydney Scales Lacrosse. We did
man, that is, if you were there yesterday, you got to write in the comments and tell us about that.
Yeah, it was amazing.
The best shooter on the planet and the best defender on the planet in one camp. That's amazing.
Unbelievable day. We had tons of fun with the campers. They learned everything there is to know about offense and defense. But at the end of the day, we did our own skills competition. We did an accuracy competition and we did a fastest shot competition. And it was so much fun. And you feel the adrenaline of being in that moment and being in competition with other campers. I love doing it. I love giving the younger kids an opportunity to partake in that, and they can take it home with them and then show their friends and keep it going. So it's definitely a fun aspect of the game.
I feel like we have to put a disclaimer on the screen. Don't try and shoot 95 miles per hour, though. You might try and hurt yourself.
Yeah. That will come as you guys continue to grow older and stronger.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. And why I wanted to show the miss before the 95 miles per hour, Charlotte, is I wanted to ask you, like, how quickly do you have to reset? Like, we always talk about the mentality. You only have, 10 seconds between jogging back, picking up another ball, and going again. And you obviously found that mental reset so quickly.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of time. I mean, honestly, Mrs. Birch, the legendary Sheehan Stanwick Birch, the Hall of Famer, she was asking me, like, what's your tactic? What's your game plan? And honestly, you lean back on the muscle memory, but you try to build up as much momentum. As you saw, I was running as fast as I possibly could up to the line, and then you step into your shot. That helps you get momentum and energy starting to build within your motion, but then you're able to transfer all that energy and weight forward through your shot. We were almost like falling over through the shot, and that just showing how much you need to connect, your lower body with your upper body. And then that finishes with your shot. A lot of people ask me, like, oh, how do you get your shot faster? Like, you must be really strong in the upper body, or you must be, using a lot of your arms. And it's really not that. It's really using every part of your body to generate power, almost like a pitcher in baseball, or a golfer, or, a quarterback. They're not just using their arm, right? They're using everything from, their footwork to their hips and their core and their shoulders. And it's the same thing in lacrosse. When you want to be a powerful shooter, you got to look at everything, not just your arms.
Sheehan, let me simplify it for you. Let it rip. We know you're watching, Sheehan. Let it rip. Let it rip. All right, let's go to the game, which was incredible. High scoring affair.
Yes.
Obviously, your team struggled at the draw, so I want your insight on that, because Sam Smith for Team Izzy was incredible, winning it to herself and just dominating it at the draw. And we talk about it throughout the college season. Possession is the name of the game. So even though there was a shorter shot clock, when you have the ball in your stick and it's a high scoring game, you're going to get more opportunities to score.
Yeah, let us know what you guys thought of the rules in the comments. I thought it was awesome to be able to play in the 10v10 format that we highlighted on the preview show last week. 10v10, and then there were other nuanced rules. There were a shorter shot clock, like you mentioned, 32 seconds off of a draw win. If you lose it, you're playing defense for 32 seconds. If you win it, you're playing offense for 32 seconds. And then if there's a turnover, if you're going the other way, anything that's not off of a draw is a 52-second shot clock. So you kind of have to weigh your options, and there's different strategy. We've seen in the PLL, there's different strategy to how you approach this type of rule. In the women's game, a lot of people use draw sticks. It's become a popular choice. It's something that I used in the college game, and I still use now. And I think it's a great developing aspect of being a draw taker. So we were trying to figure out ways to counter the 32-second shot clock while not having to exchange sticks.
Right.
We thought that would utilize a lot of the clock, but we ended up mixing in the draw stick a few times. But Sam Smith had an unbelievable showing. I mean, a few weeks ago, I guess it's a little over a month ago now, we saw her dominate at championship weekend for Northwestern, and she's transitioned seamlessly into the professional game. Her draw taking ability is second to none. And we mentioned her being the X factor for Northwestern and their title hopes down the stretch in NCAA lacrosse. I feel like she's underratedly so good at the draw. I don't think people talk about it enough.
Yeah, I thought the Lake Show showed up in Kansas City. Team Izzy, Izzy Skane herself had a dominant performance, scoring 7 goals. I just thought overall, Charlotte, team chemistry, we've talked about this, when you only have a couple of days to find that team chemistry, you can rely on, okay, we've played internationally together, we've played collegiately together, and it did feel like starting at the draw, flowing into their offensive rhythm, the Northwestern girls really did anchor a strong Team Izzy performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that offense was definitely clicking, especially in the second, third quarters of that game, and they figured out a way to strike early off of those draw wins. They weren't finding themselves in a situation where they were getting a lot of shot clock violations. They were getting good looks off early in the possession. And that all started with Izzy being a dominant Dodger. She was winning her matchup. She was finding seams, and, Sam Apuzzo on that offense. First time we've seen her in a WLL uniform. She had an unbelievable game as well. So it was just awesome to see all the new faces out in the WLL and all that's to come. Honestly, I hope that you guys are excited because the future of the WLL is bright. Those were just 2 teams of 10v10. Now think about what the future may hold. It's so exciting to see how electric a game like that can be and how excited the fans can be for something like that because it's just the beginning, truly.
And somebody needs to clip that game and send it to the NCAA along with Jenny Levy's proposal, because it should be 10v10. It's just that simple. It opens up the field. It makes it more exciting. I think you're going to get more goal scoring opportunities. That doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be more goals, but more goal scoring opportunities creates excitement because you can see more goalie saves, more terrific defensive work.
Yeah.
I thought 10v10, that was an awesome showcase for the sport at its best, at its highest level. And hopefully we can continue to push it forward and not just see 10v10 continue to be played out on the international and professional stage, but also the collegiate stage. You
go ahead.
I was just going to say, our producer, Wes, got very excited because I sent him this clip during the game, but I want to see it one more time. Break down this. It was Sports Center top 10, number 4 overall. What's going through your head in this moment?
I mean, Jay, I love you always hit us with you'll be seeing that on Sports Center top 10, and we needed that. We needed it in that moment. No, it was awesome. It was just, the All-Star game is a fun, competitive atmosphere, but it's also a game where you can, have some fun and creativity involved. And honestly, I felt like that was the only window that I really had to shoot because Courtney Taylor coming topside and then Ali Mastroianni was sliding to the backside. So I truly didn't have many options there. And if you work enough on your stick work and your feeling of the defensive pressure and your creativity, you'll be able to kind of not think and be able to see where the gaps are very quickly.
Our dear friend Paul Carcaterra says it all the time. A lot of people think you do it behind the back or between the legs for show, but you perfectly illustrated that was your only move.
Yeah.
If you tried to go behind the back or turned around to go lefty, you're getting closed off. So you only had one option, and obviously you made it work. And that's the whole trusting the instincts. But I know there are hundreds, if not thousands of girls this week in their backyard trying to go between the legs like you did.
We worked on it yesterday in our camp as well. I mean, we pulled out all the tricks. It was awesome. But yeah, no, it's fun. Those are the types of things that you work on, not necessarily hoping or intending to use it in a game or use it in practice. You're just trying to push the limits of your stick work range or where you can handle the ball and where you can get a pass or a shot off. You practice those with that intent. And sometimes, you get an opportunity like that in a game and you capitalize on it. But one more thing I'll say about the 10v10, we talk about the high scoring affair and we talk about the goal scoring that happened. It also allows for a lot of great defensive highlights. And you mentioned the goalkeeping, but the defensive highlights that you can have in a 6v6, a lot of people think, you take one less person off the field and you have all this space. So advantage goes to the offense. But we saw a lot of great 1v1 defense. We saw a lot of great cause turnovers. 2 that come to mind, Sydney Scales and Abby Bosco wreaking havoc on the defensive end and coming up with a lot of picked off passes or cause turnovers, ground balls, just great 1v1 pressure when it boils down to it. So I know it was a high scoring game. It was a long game, but it definitely allows for awesome defensive highlights as well. So if you're a young defender out there, there's a lot to look back on in this game and then get excited about in the future.
Before we move to the coaching carousel, give me one player who you thought really dominated. And it's so hard, but just even in the lead up, maybe you hadn't been able to play with this person before and you were like, wow, they really sparked me.
Yeah, that is hard. So many people just came to my mind. I mean, on the other end, you can't not go with Izzy. I mean, I've been lucky enough to play with her on Team USA as of late. And we were actually roommates at the Pan American Lacrosse Championship. And it was so fun just getting to hang out with her. But she is a force on the field and pretty much unstoppable. You got to send a slide early. You got to be ready with a triple team. You got to pull out all the stops to try to contain her, but she is just absolutely unstoppable. on our team, I mean, I just love any chance I get to play with Kenzie Kent. I'm always learning when I'm playing with Kenzie Kent. Practices are so fun, just picking her brain, seeing how she sees the field. I mean, I truly think she's on the Mount Rushmore of our sport and one of the most skilled players I've ever been around. And so I can't wait to see her continue in her role in the WLL and hopefully get to play with her.
Yeah, and that's a player that we haven't gotten to see in a while because she's restricted right now to international and then the WLL, which is emerging but wasn't able to play in the championship series because she's a college coach. So, the Sam Apuzos, the Kenzie Kents, the Marie McCools, like, I'm excited to just see them on a regular basis again.
Oh, yeah. I think the whole lacrosse world is. I know I'm excited. I mean, just having one game on the same field as those players on Friday, on July 4th, that was a dream come true. So now, just thinking about the future, it couldn't be more exciting for fans of women's lacrosse and also us as players. So
let's get into the coaching carousel, off-season edition on the Lacrosse Rundown. The one that happened during championship weekend that really started the offseason with a big surprise was Kayla Trainer leaving her alma mater, Syracuse, to go to Penn State. You and I, very close with Kayla over the years. Obviously, you played for her. I covered her. I always say I fell in love with the sport of women's lacrosse because I got to cover Kayla as a player at Syracuse. And obviously, Penn State, this is a statement hire from their athletic director, Pat Kraft, who overlapped with Kayla at Boston College.
Yes.
They clearly are going to put a lot of resources into the sport of women's lacrosse, and they took a coach that I don't think even has found her prime yet as a head coach, a young coach who's now got experience, been to 2 championship weekends, and now gets to start fresh in the Big Ten, and she is going to be backed with a lot of resources.
Yeah, a lot of resources is right. I mean, what a cool athletic department. What a place to go play and compete for Big Ten championships and national championships. I mean, how special would it be to have, this loaded Big Ten with schools like Northwestern and Maryland that we're used to seeing in the Big Ten championship game, but then a Penn State and a USC maybe, or an Oregon, or all these schools that are evolving and multiplying in resources, like you mentioned. I mean, just it's so good for the landscape of our game, and I hope that we continue to see the competitive nature of the Big Ten and the competitive nature of the ACC just continue to rise, because as both continue to rise, the overall level of play in the game of college women's lacrosse has grown exponentially, and I just can't wait to watch Kayla do her thing, inspire those players. I mean, those players are incredibly lucky because she's one of the best minds in the game, hands down. I've been lucky enough to be able to be coached by her and be around her and just understand how she sees the game and get her wisdom and be inspired by her. I mean, I can't wait to see her flourish there.
And obviously it puts Syracuse on the back foot in that moment. So we've talked about this before. We think Syracuse is a top 5 job. I mean, even though they haven't won a national championship, the passion that program has, the history that program has on the men and the women's side, it's an elite job. And they go with a Syracuse guy in Reggie Thorpe, who's a longtime assistant coach of Gary Gait, knows that program better than anybody. And in recent years, a lot of people credit Florida's recent success with Reggie Thorpe coming in to Gainesville and taking them to back-to-back Final Four appearances. So what do you make of Syracuse going with Reggie Thorpe?
I think it's awesome. I've never played for Reggie, but I've had awesome conversations with him. He's also the head coach of the U.S. men's box team. So when we were at the U.S. women's, or I was a part of the U.S. women's box team at the first ever World Championships for the indoor space on the women's side, I got to have awesome conversations with him, see him do his thing as a coach. And I think this is really exciting for the future of Syracuse. I mean, we've talked about it on this show. The crowds that come around during the spring at the Carrier Dome are insane. I mean, the people in upstate New York love lacrosse. They love their Syracuse teams on the men's and the women's side. And I think, they're just going to continue to put up numbers in terms of fan attendance like that and continue to win and continue to be at the top, near the top of the ACC and try to punch their ticket to championship weekend.
And I think you hit on something important when you talk about the top of the ACC, because it feels like last season, North Carolina and Boston College really separated themselves, where in recent years, particularly under Gary and the first couple of years of Kayla, Syracuse was in that competition. And it feels like last season, they just were not at that level that you need to be in the ACC. I think Reggie Thorpe will bring that back. And he said it in his opening press conference, but you don't come to Syracuse if you don't want to win ACC and national championships. And can he be the guy to finally put Syracuse over the top for women's lacrosse? It's amazing that they're such a perennial power, and yet they've never won that elusive national championship.
I mean, they've been so close. I mean, I played against them in the national championship, but that program has been so close, knocking on the door to winning their first title. And I mean, Reggie's daughter played for Syracuse, Ella Thorpe, of course. So he has so much experience on the sidelines and in the Cuse family, but I can sense that he knows how badly, that school, that community, those players want to cross over that finish line and win that first title. But I'm excited to watch him continue to flourish as a head coach in so many different ways. I mean, we've seen him do it at Florida in his assistant coaching role. We've seen him do it on the international stage, on the men's game, but we've also seen him do it at Syracuse on the women's side. So he has tons of experience, and I expect he'll do really well.
All right, let's go to transfer portal action. It has heated up in recent weeks. And to me, Charlotte, the headline has been Northwestern. The Wildcats, Big Ten champions, they lose in the national championship game to North Carolina. And I think that has fueled this coaching staff to go out and acquire some key pieces. The headline, obviously, has been Olivia Adamson signing on, but they also went and got a goalie and a draw control taker, two areas you need to be strong if you want to compete for a national championship.
Yeah, they got an awesome goalkeeper, Jenica Cuoco from Drexel. She's been a standout, and she's been in the top 10 statistically for goalies for the past 2 seasons. And so it's been exciting to see her play. Now I can't wait to see how that transfers over to the Big Ten and all the amazing offensive weapons she's going to face as shooters. I can't wait to see how she goes up against them. And then, Olivia Adamson, obviously we talk about her goal scoring ability at Syracuse throughout her entire career. She's incredibly two-handed, and she can quarterback an offense. So she can play behind. She can play on the inside of the 8-meter as a finisher. She can play up top as a dodger. She is really versatile. So I'm excited to see her in this offense with Madison Taylor, who has one final year left. I expect them to play on opposite sides of the offensive scheme from each other to balance it out, but it's going to be a fun duo to watch for sure. And then you've got Maddie Epke, who has won a bajillion draw controls at James Madison, but she doesn't just take the draw. She can push transition. She plays on the offensive end, and she is also a dominant goal scorer. So, I mean, we saw her on the U20 roster, so there's a connection there with head coach Kelly Amonte Hiller, who was the head coach of the U20 team just a summer ago. That team won gold in Hong Kong. So, I mean, I expect they've got an awesome relationship, and they're excited for the year ahead.
Big splash from the Lake Show with that 3-headed monster coming in via the transfer portal. And you touched on something. You said Madison Taylor. And I think this is a targeted move because, look, you only have one more year of Madison Taylor going into her senior year. And remember, Northwestern is hosting championship weekend.
People forget.
So you have this golden opportunity. You have the best scorer in college lacrosse. Let's surround her. Let's boost that supporting cast, because we're never going to have an opportunity again to win a national championship with Madison Taylor on our home turf. Like, it just feels like if there was a year to go all in, and I know every team wants to win a national championship, but I think when you're hosting, it's a little extra special, and you have a proven commodity in Madison Taylor, who's likely going to put up another 100-goal-plus season. I
mean, yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I think, in the back of your head, you got to take it one day at a time. But you're always thinking that, what if this magical run happened right in our backyard? So, I mean, that is so special. I think it's going to be awesome. I mean, we just talked about, we were in Kansas City. We were in Missouri, the Midwest. There were tons of youth lacrosse programs, high school lacrosse teams, club lacrosse teams that came out and they were there from the skills competition to the game to post-game autographs and getting to meet some of the fans. I mean, it was so cool to see the state of lacrosse in the Midwest. Now think about championship weekend in Chicago this coming year, Memorial Day weekend. I mean, I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see the types of crowds that are there. I can't wait to see the excitement generated around it. I mean, the PLL's in Chicago this coming weekend, so that's a great little test to see, you know, how excited fans are for some pro lacrosse to come to the area. But lacrosse in the Midwest is certainly alive and well, and it's only growing by the minute. I think we saw that in Kansas City, and we'll continue to see it.
Yeah, I think obviously Notre Dame on the men's side have established kind of the epicenter for Midwest lacrosse, but now you're seeing it expand to Chicago, Kansas City, and it's going to continue to take shape. Anything else that has caught your eye in the transfer portal as you've kind of looked at the offseason taking shape?
Nothing that jumps out, but we'd love to hear from you guys. I mean, the transfer portal is relatively new, but it is taking over the landscape of all college sports, and it is the headlining news for a majority of sports, especially in the summertime, which is the off season for a lot of sports. And it's a fun, dynamic, exciting aspect. And we'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Any questions that you guys have, anything that you guys want to know. I'm someone who has been inside the transfer portal. So speaking from experience, we'd love to hear questions from you guys. And seriously, if you guys have your eyes on something, a question about the upcoming season, a question about a program, or anything that you're excited for heading into this new calendar year, we want to hear from you.
You were a trendsetter, Charlotte. The transfer portal wasn't as big a deal when you were in it as it is now.
Yeah,
just one of the many ways you have blazed the trail in this sport.
Yeah, it was new when I entered the portal. I entered in 2019, so pre-COVID. I didn't know much about it, as I'm sure some of you guys watching probably don't know a whole lot about it, but it is an exciting time for college sports across the board. Definitely, you know, something to keep our eye on the women's and men's lacrosse front, especially as things are changing with NIL and all that stuff. But it's an exciting time. So if you guys have questions on that, questions on any of the NCAA lacrosse landscape, any of the rules, of course, we've talked about our favorite rules that were the 10v10 in the WLL format, but any questions you guys have on that, we would love to answer.
And drop in the comments after this episode is over a guest you want Charlotte and I to try and wrangle this summer or fall on the Lacrosse Rundown. Who do you want to hear from? I know you love hearing from us every week, but we want to try and get some guests that you guys want to hear from. So drop that in the comments.
Yeah, you guys have been so awesome. We feel the support. We feel the community. That is the reason that we love coming on here every Tuesday night. Seriously, we could not thank you enough. This community is multiplying by the minute, and we love just chatting with you guys. That's the best part of it. So make sure when this YouTube video, this live video ends, you go to the live tab of my YouTube channel, you like and subscribe, because we know the OGs who are subscribed, and we love featuring your comments on the next week's live show. But until then, we got lots to break down and a lot coming up this summer. We've got the World Games in China for the USA Sixes teams, and that'll be a fun and exciting event. And we can't wait to break that down with you guys. But until then, we want to hear from you. So drop in the comments section, and we will see you guys next week.